India's rover on Earth's satellite, the Chandrayaan 3 rover, has captured the moon's image just prior to touchdown.
Something big just happened on the moon, so big that even Elon Musk is panicking.
So at some point in the future, and Earth will become like Venus. And why did it take so long?
Chandrayaan 3, India's latest lunar mission.
India just became the fourth nation to successfully land a spacecraft on the moon, but
has uncovered a shocking discovery that could change everything we thought we knew about the moon. What did it find?
When you look at this picture, you see these very strange oblong features. Some of them look like a trail of footprints across the moon.
And why is one of the most powerful figures in space exploration suddenly so concerned? The implications are massive and the world is paying attention.
Scientists who are working on moon has really shown a lot of interest on the South Pole.
No nation has yet landed a spacecraft successfully at South Pole region of the moon, where there are places where the sun never shines.
But before we get to what's causing all the panic, we need to talk about how India's Chandrayaan 3 even got to this point and why its discoveries are shaking up the space industry.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
India's moon mission just changed everything. Chandrayaan 3 wasn't just another space mission, it was India's boldest step yet in lunar exploration. After the heartbreak of Chandrayaan 2's failed landing attempt in 2019,
Vikram lander descent, the communications from the lander to ground station was lost.
The Indian Space Research Organization came back stronger, determined to prove that India belonged in the elite club of nations that had successfully landed on the moon. And on August 23, 2023, they did exactly that.
India is the first country in the world to land a spacecraft near the moon's south pole.
Landing near the moon's south pole, a region scientists have been obsessed with for its potential water ice reserves, Chandrayaan 3 made history. The Vikram lander touched down smoothly, and the Pragyan rover rolled out, ready to explore a place no human or machine had ever properly studied.
Scientists who are working on moon has really shown a lot of interest on the South Pole, because ultimately human beings wants to go and create colonies on the moon.
But this wasn't just about national pride, this was about science, and Chandrayaan 3 wasted no time uncovering things that left scientists stunned.
Yeah, so the South Pole's big, Victor, because of ice.
One of the first major breakthroughs, the confirmation of sulfur and other unexpected elements in the lunar soil. Using cutting-edge instruments, the Pragyan rover detected sulfur, aluminum, calcium, iron, titanium, and even traces of oxygen.
ISRO has confirmed the presence of sulfur on the lunar surface near the South Pole using the laser-induced breakdown spectroscope. Identified aluminium, calcium, iron, chromium, and titanium on the moon's surface.
Why does this matter? Because sulfur's presence suggests volcanic activity in the moon's past, adding another piece to the puzzle of how Earth's closest neighbor was formed. It also fuels speculation about how lunar resources could be used for future space colonization.
And also could be turned into rocket fuel to use the moon as a place to launch to further locations out in the cosmos.
Then came the temperature shock. The Vikram lander recorded surface temperatures reaching an astonishing 70 degrees Celsius, far hotter than expected. This wasn't just a scientific curiosity, it had real consequences for future missions. Any lunar base or rover designed to explore the region long-term would have to withstand extreme temperature swings between blistering heat and brutal cold. But the real game changer was something no one saw coming. When Chandrayaan 3 started measuring lunar seismic activity, it detected something unusual, something that hadn't been recorded since the Apollo missions.
The Vikram lander has detected seismic activity on the moon.
A strange vibration, possibly evidence of ongoing tectonic activity, sent researchers scrambling to analyze the data. Could the moon be more geologically active than we thought? If so, it might change how we plan lunar settlements and even impact future missions to Mars and beyond. Chandrayaan 3 wasn't just gathering data, it was rewriting what we thought we knew about the moon. Every discovery brought new questions, and with them, a sense that we might not be as prepared for lunar exploration as we believed, and that's exactly why the latest finding has people like Elon Musk so shaken. Because if this mission could reveal so many unexpected things, what else might be lurking on the moon, waiting to be uncovered?
At some point in the future, boil the oceans, and Earth will become like Venus. So if we do not become multiplanetary.
But before we get into why this discovery is so unsettling, there's one key detail that changes everything: the location. Because Chandrayaan 3 didn't just land anywhere on the moon, it touched down in one of the most mysterious, unexplored regions in the entire solar system.
No nation has yet landed a spacecraft successfully South Pole region of the moon, where there are places where the sun never shines.
The moon's South Pole is hiding something big. For decades, space agencies around the world have been obsessed with the moon's South Pole. It's not just another stretch of lifeless lunar dust, it's a place unlike anywhere else on the moon. Towering crater rims cast permanent shadows, creating some of the coldest spots in the solar system. At the same time, certain high peaks receive nearly constant sunlight, making them ideal locations for future lunar bases. But what really makes this region so valuable is water. Unlike the rest of the moon, where temperatures swing wildly between scorching heat and freezing cold, the South Pole's craters are thought to contain ancient water ice locked away in their shadows. If confirmed, this frozen treasure could be a game changer for space exploration, providing future astronauts with drinking water, breathable oxygen, and even fuel for deep space missions.
Possibly made into drinking water to support crews that would go there, astronauts that would go there, and also could be turned into rocket fuel to use the moon as a place to launch to further locations out in the cosmos.
Chandrayaan 3's mission wasn't just about planting a flag or proving technical capability, it was about getting hard data from this mysterious region. And that's exactly what it did. The Vikram lander and Pragyan rover went to work immediately, analyzing the soil, scanning for resources, and sending back readings that stunned scientists. The presence of sulfur and other unexpected elements added an unexpected twist to the mission. Sulfur, typically associated with volcanic activity, hinted at a more complex geological history than previously thought, and when surface temperatures of 70 degrees Celsius were recorded in sunlit areas, it raised serious questions about how extreme this environment really is.
The finding could pave the way for humans to go to the moon once again, something that's been regarded as almost impossible.
But perhaps the most unsettling discovery wasn't what was found, it was what wasn't.
When the moon's hit by asteroids and comets, comets have water. If water lands in those places, they're called cold traps, and the water never goes away.
Unlike previous assumptions, Chandrayaan 3's data suggested the moon's surface composition near the South Pole was more unpredictable than expected. If scientists couldn't fully anticipate what they'd find in this region, what other surprises were lurking beneath the surface? This is why the South Pole has become the hottest real estate in space exploration. NASA, China, and even private companies like SpaceX all have their eyes set on this region, racing to stake their claim.
Public real fired up. I think we gotta have a base on the moon.
But what Chandrayaan 3 uncovered might change how we approach lunar colonization entirely. Because if there's one thing this mission has proven, it's that we're just scratching the surface of the moon's biggest mysteries, and the next revelation might be even bigger. But here's where things take a turn. Chandrayaan 3's findings weren't just surprising, they were completely unexpected. Among the routine data collected, there was something that left scientists uneasy, something that could redefine how we see the moon. The moon might not be as inactive as we thought. For years, the moon was considered a dead world, geologically silent with no real activity beneath its cratered surface. But Chandrayaan 3 recorded something that challenges that belief.
While recording the movements of the rover and other payloads, it recorded a natural seismic event after landing.
Using its instrument for lunar seismic activity, ILSE, the lander picked up strange vibrations beneath the surface, one set caused by the rover's movements and another from an unknown source. The latter wasn't expected. These vibrations weren't just random tremors. Scientists suspect they could be evidence of ongoing tectonic activity, a possibility that could completely reshape how we think about the moon's structure. If true, it would mean the moon isn't as stable as we assumed, which could have major consequences for future lunar bases. Imagine setting up permanent human habitats, only to discover the ground beneath them is shifting. This seismic detection also reignited an old debate. Could the moon still have some form of internal activity? Most scientists believe that, unlike Earth, the moon's core has cooled down, making volcanic or tectonic movements unlikely. But if there's still activity, even at a minor level, it raises new questions about what's happening beneath the lunar surface. And the surprises didn't stop there. Chandrayaan 3's sensors also picked up an unusual electromagnetic disturbance in the area.
And it's a lot of friction. It's so much heat dumped into the interior of the moon from this effect that it actually kept the mantle of the moon molten.
While the moon is known for having a weak magnetic field, this particular anomaly wasn't predicted. Could it be linked to underground structures, different mineral compositions, or something else entirely? The answer is still unclear, but what's certain is that scientists now have far more questions than they did before the mission. Another striking discovery was how the moon's surface interacts with its surroundings. Chandrayaan 3's plasma sensor revealed that the moon's near-surface environment isn't as empty as once thought. Instead, there's a thin layer of charged particles, a kind of lunar atmosphere that could affect future missions, particularly robotic and crewed landings. It's one thing to plan for vacuum conditions. It's another to deal with unexpected electrostatic forces that could interfere with spacecraft instruments. Then there's the buried impact crater. Initially overlooked, further analysis of regional scans revealed a massive, long-hidden crater, nearly 160 kilometers in diameter. Unlike the obvious craters scattered across the lunar surface, this one had been eroded over time, making it difficult to detect. Its presence tells a deeper story about the moon's violent history, hinting at impacts that might have shaped its evolution in ways we still don't fully understand. What makes all of these discoveries so significant isn't just what they reveal, it's what they suggest.
When you look at this picture, you see these very strange oblong features. Some of them look like a trail of footprints across the moon.
The moon isn't as predictable as we thought. Beneath its seemingly lifeless surface, something is still happening. Whether it's seismic activity, shifting magnetic fields, or previously unknown environmental interactions, Chandrayaan 3 has confirmed that the moon is far from just a static rock in space. But perhaps the most unexpected impact of Chandrayaan 3's discoveries is how they've caught the attention of industry leaders. Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, has been particularly vocal, and his reactions offer a glimpse into how these findings might reshape future lunar missions.
Look at it, it's just sitting there. Look at that. What? Holy smokes, man.
Elon Musk's reaction, rethinking lunar exploration. Elon Musk has long been an advocate for space exploration, with ambitious plans to establish a human presence on the Moon and Mars. The unexpected findings from Chandrayaan 3 have prompted Musk to reassess aspects of these plans. In response to the mission's success, Musk expressed admiration for India's achievement, highlighting the mission's cost-effectiveness. He noted that Chandrayaan 3's budget was less than that of the Hollywood film Interstellar, emphasizing the efficiency of the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. UniverseMagazine.com. However, the scientific revelations from Chandrayaan 3, particularly the detection of seismic activity and the presence of unexpected elements like sulfur, have significant implications for SpaceX's lunar ambitions. These findings suggest that the moon's geology is more active and complex than previously understood, which could impact the design and safety considerations of future lunar missions. SpaceX's Starship Human Landing System, HLS, developed under NASA's Artemis program, is designed to transport astronauts to the lunar surface. The new data from Chandrayaan 3 may necessitate modifications to the Starship HLS to accommodate the moon's dynamic environment, ensuring the safety and success of crewed missions. NASA.gov. Moreover, the discovery of potential resources such as water ice in the lunar South Pole region aligns with SpaceX's long-term goals of establishing a sustainable human presence on the moon. Access to in-situ resources could reduce the dependency on Earth-based supplies, making lunar bases more viable, But Musk isn't the only one paying attention. While his reaction was immediate and public, the global scientific community has been quietly dissecting Chandrayaan 3's findings, and the conclusions they're drawing could reshape how we explore the moon from this point forward.
Where we achieved this 3’s mission, which is the first of our country.
Scientists are worried and excited. When Chandrayaan 3 started sending back data, researchers across the world took notice. From NASA to the European Space Agency, ESA, to independent lunar scientists, everyone was trying to make sense of what India's mission had uncovered. And the more they analyzed, the more they realized this changes things. One of the biggest concerns revolves around the seismic activity detected by the Vikram lander. For decades, the moon was believed to be geologically dead, but Chandrayaan 3's data suggests otherwise. If there's still movement happening beneath the surface, even minor shifts, that complicates long-term plans for human bases. Could underground lunar structures collapse over time? Would equipment be at risk? These are questions that weren't even on the table before, and now space agencies have to reconsider their strategies. Then there's the strange electromagnetic disturbance recorded near the landing site. Scientists are puzzled. Was this a localized anomaly, or does it hint at something bigger? Some speculate that the moon's magnetic field might be more complex than previously thought, while others wonder if it could be linked to unknown subsurface structures. Either way, it's another variable that future missions will need to account for. Of course, it's not all concerns, there's also excitement. Chandrayaan 3's discovery of sulfur and other unexpected elements in the lunar soil is opening up new possibilities. If the moon's surface contains more diverse materials than previously known, it could have massive implications for in-situ resource utilization, ISRU. Essentially, future lunar missions might be able to extract and use these elements for construction, fuel, or life support systems, reducing the need for costly supply shipments from Earth. NASA scientists, in particular, have expressed interest in what this means for Artemis missions. The Artemis program aims to establish a long-term human presence on the moon, and every new piece of data helps refine mission planning. Could the moon provide more than just water? Could sulfur be used in manufacturing? These are now serious discussions. Meanwhile, Chinese space agencies, which have their own ambitions for a lunar research station, are also analyzing Chandrayaan 3's findings. With China planning future moon landings, including potential crewed missions, the data from India's mission is proving valuable in shaping their approach. But Chandrayaan 3's discoveries aren't the first to shake our understanding of the moon. In fact, history shows that every time we think we've figured it out, something new comes along that changes everything.
And you believe the moon is the next economic frontier?
The moon is certainly that next step for space exploration.
The moon keeps surprising us again and again. Long before humans ever set foot on the moon, it was a mystery. For centuries, astronomers debated what it was made of, whether it had an atmosphere, and even if it could support life. But the real game changers didn't come until the space race kicked off in the mid-20th century. The first major shock came in 1959 when the Soviet Union's Luna 3 spacecraft sent back the first images of the moon's far side. Before that, no one had seen what was on the other side of our closest neighbor. The pictures revealed a rugged, crater-filled landscape, completely different from the familiar near side. Scientists were stunned. Why was one side of the moon so different from the other? That question still isn't fully answered today. Then came Apollo 11 in 1969. The moon landing wasn't just a triumph of human exploration. It was also a scientific breakthrough. The astronauts brought back lunar rock samples that revealed something unexpected. The moon and Earth likely shared the same origins. The leading theory that emerged was the giant impact hypothesis, which suggests that a Mars-sized object collided with Earth billions of years ago, throwing debris into space that eventually formed the moon. But the surprises didn't stop there. Apollo 12, 14, 15, and 16 all brought back more lunar samples, and one element found in them raised eyebrows: helium-3. This isotope, rare on Earth but abundant on the moon, was theorized to be a potential fuel for nuclear fusion, sparking interest in lunar mining. Suddenly, the moon wasn't just a barren rock, it was a potential energy source for the future. Fast forward to 2009, when NASA's L-Cross mission crashed a probe into a shadowed crater at the moon's south pole. The impact kicked up a cloud of material, and among the debris, scientists found undeniable proof of water ice. This was a huge revelation. water meant the potential for human survival and even fuel production, as water can be broken down into hydrogen and oxygen for rocket fuel. But the real question now is, what does this mean for the future? Because if the moon isn't what we thought it was, then every space mission from here on out just got a whole lot more complicated and a whole lot more exciting. The race to the moon just got more intense. Chandrayaan 3's discoveries don't just affect India's space program, they change the game for everyone. The confirmation of unexpected elements, seismic activity, and potential resource deposits means that any future lunar mission has to take these factors into account. For NASA's Artemis program, which plans to send astronauts to the moon in the coming years, these findings could reshape landing site selections, equipment designs, and even astronaut safety protocols. If the moon is still geologically active, that's a major factor when setting up long-term bases. China, which has its own lunar ambitions, is also closely analyzing the data. With plans to establish a lunar research station in the 2030s, China's space agency will likely adjust its strategies based on what Chandrayaan 3 has uncovered. Then there's private spaceflight. SpaceX, Blue Origin, and other commercial companies aiming to build lunar infrastructure now have even more reasons to speed up their plans. Resources like sulfur and water ice could be game changers for in situ resource utilization, potentially making a moon-based economy feasible in the near future. One thing is certain, Chandrayaan 3 has kicked open the door to a new era of moon exploration, and the world is taking notice. Let us know what you think in the comments below.